division. Yeah, the Dolphins screwed up last week.
Yeah, we mentioned this during the recap Sunday night, Jay, and those other teams that are currently sitting on one loss, I think the only team you can make a case for looking for a quarterback other than Miami might be Atlanta if they want to move off of Matt Ryan, but them being fifth doesn't really mean anything because they're probably the only ones looking for a quarterback. Like you said, the Jets already have their guy. The Bengals haven't won yet, but they're starting the rookie that they drafted last year right now. So that's the second half of the season is evaluation for him to see if they made the right call. You can talk about Atlanta and Washington. Washington just drafted Haskins. I think they're, like Neil said earlier, this is second half of the season. This is a redshirt year to get him NFL snaps so the next coaching regime knows exactly what they have. And, aforementioned Falcons, they could go either way. They can still stay with Ryan or they can choose to tear it down and start over, which most of the fan base here wants to happen anyway.
Monty took off to have a beer. That's very odd. The Jets.
Hey, beer's more important than us, Jay.
I will say this, though, about the Jets and Sam Darnold. If the Jets do still end up picking third, I believe they'd be third right now if the draft were to happen. If that ends up happening by the end of the season, the Jets could very well be ready to move off of Sam Darnold. If he doesn't turn things around at this particular point, he has looked really bad.
Yeah, but is that him or is that the head coach? Because he looked pretty solid during his rookie year. I mean, yeah, he still looked like a rookie, but he showed flashes of potential that, could lead him to be a bona fide NFL quarterback for a long period of time. Yeah, he's had his ups and downs this season. We know about his bout with the kissing disease, if you will. But, okay, so outside of the Dallas game where he played okay, it wasn't great. That was more so the defense shutting down Dallas than him playing great. He's had some okay starts. He hasn't been completely horrible consistently. Yeah, it's been erratic, but I mean, it's year two of a guy you just drafted. I mean, unless the front office is the same way Arizona was last year, where it's like, okay, we got to this top 10 quarterback we drafted. He's horrible. He's not what we thought. We got the number one pick. We're chucking this guy and getting a new guy. I mean, that's rare. How often does a team draft quarterbacks in the top 10 in back-to-back years?
Monty, what beer did you end up getting yourself?
I'm afraid I've got an ice-cold Samuel Adams Oktoberfest, one of my favorites. The last Oktoberfest of the year, fellas.
That sounds so good.
Winter is coming.
Good. All right, well, you mentioned winter is coming. Why don't we jump into the Pigskin Pick'em? And as always, we begin with the Thursday night football game. It is the Los Angeles Chargers 4-5 visiting your Oakland Raiders, who are 4-4. The Chargers are favored by 1. Our power rankings have the Chargers at 17, the Raiders at 18. Due to our home field advantage rules, this will be the last primetime game in the Oakland Coliseum. Home field advantage rules. Power rankings going with the Raiders in this particular game. I will warn the power rankings, though. Phillip Rivers has passed for an average of 304.3 yards per game and has passed 4 versus the Raiders with 8 touchdowns, only 1 pick. That's a 121.7 rating. His 45 career touchdown passes against Oakland are his most against any opponent. I will take the Chargers. Monty, you believe you're going to shock the world.
Do the Raiders get a 3-point home field advantage when they play in Los Angeles? Because that's a home game too.
Yeah, they probably should. We should probably institute the home field advantage for the away team when in LA.
I think this game is going to be one of those Thursday night games where the internet complains that it's ugly and gross and what a waste of time. Nobody was ready. I don't think it's going to be a very good game. There's a lot of injuries. I'm sure James will get into that. But I think the key here really is going to be the Chargers firing Ken Whisenhunt and trying to go with that super modern philosophy of we need to run the ball more. The Raiders' defense is bad, like really, really bad, terribly, terribly, terribly bad, probably 31st in the league against the pass. So if Phillip Rivers wanted to, he could put up 450 yards and 4 touchdowns real easy. But hopefully his coach will say things like, we need to establish the run early, and every running play that the Raiders defense gets gives them a chance to win. So I got a feeling that Keenan Allen's going to get his, but it'll be a little bit too little too late. The Raiders' offensive line has played pretty well this year, and I think if you guys haven't been paying attention, Josh Jacobs is, slowly and steadily becoming a pretty solid option in the run game, and that's going to give the Raiders just enough. The home field advantage should actually be pretty legit. The Raiders fans came out in full throat last week against Detroit. Like you said, their last primetime game ever. Even if the Raiders were to sneak into the playoffs, I don't want to say that too loudly, but they wouldn't get a home game anyway. So this is kind of it. So I expect you're going to see a loud black hole. You're going to see Phillip Rivers trying to make that little whiny face on the sidelines as he shot puts the ball. And if the Raiders defense can just make a play or two, even though they're terrible, they've actually been, a little bit opportunistic this year. I just got a feeling it's going to be a close, ugly, brutal game. And at the end of the day, someone's going to make a mistake and the Raiders are going to capitalize. And if it comes down to a field goal kicker, my money's on Oakland.
I will tell you, the NFL Network specifically has been running promos for Thursday Night Football all year round with fans who are basically trash talking each other. The Raiders fan this week mentioned the Crimea Rivers meme, which I thought was rather good. I will also say they've had kids involved in some of those promos, and some of the things kids say some of the harshest things, especially in those commercials.
Jay, you never play video games? Kids are horrible.
Listen, I'm just saying. By the way, I'm the only one that's taking the Chargers. So, Monty, everybody else is on your side tonight.
I love it. It's time to see the Raiders with a winning record in November. How long has it been, Jay, since you picked them as your boyfriend like 3 years ago and the wheels came off the bus? So you keep picking against the Raiders and things are going to go just fine. I like it.
There you go. James, what's the injury report?
For the Raiders, we've got Josh Morrow, defensive end, and Arden Key, defensive end. They're going to be out. Dwayne Harris, Rodney Hudson, Trent Brown are all questionable with foot, ankle, and knee injuries, respectively. For the Chargers, Derwin James is practicing, but they're targeting Week 13 for his return from injured reserve. Out tonight, no Justin Jones, no Cortez Broughton. Adrian Phillips was placed on injured reserve. Doubtful tonight is Roderick Teamer and Justin Jackson. Denzel Perryman is questionable, along with Brandon Mebane, who didn't play this past Sunday as well.
All right. There you have it. That is the Chargers and the Raiders. Sunday football.
Monty, real quick, Monty, Jacobs is my choice for Rookie of the Year right now.
Are Raiders allowed to win awards?
Wow, Jay, seriously?
I mean, they'll probably end up giving it to a quarterback. I know Kyler looks pretty good. DK Metcalf is coming on pretty strong out in the great Pacific Northwest. But, I mean, at the pace that Jacobs is going, they are giving him the ball like 27 times a game, though, and he's already banged up his shoulder. So I'm just hoping he comes out of it unscathed. But, boy, that kid seems awesome, and he's a good person to root for. He's already setting up charity foundations, helping. I mean, he's the right kind of person when you hear Mayak talk about foundational dudes who love football and are character guys. That's Josh Jacobs. So, all the best for him.
All right. The Atlanta Falcons, the 1-7 Atlanta Falcons, will be visiting the New Orleans Saints, who are 7-1, and they are number 1 in our power rankings as of now. The Falcons remain at 28. The Saints favored by 13 in this game. Since entering the NFL in 2016, Michael Thomas leads the NFL with 394 receptions, ranks third in receiving yards with 4,662. This season, he leads the league in receptions with 73 and receiving yards 875 through the first 9 weeks. He will appear in his 56th career game this Sunday and needs only 6 receptions to become the fastest player to reach 400 in NFL history. Those previous to him were Odell Beckham Jr., who did it in 61 games, Julio Jones and Jarvis Landry, while in Miami, did it in 64 games, and Keenan Allen did it in 66 games. I say he's going to get it done. I say the Saints roll 13 points, probably not even enough. We are all taking the Saints. James, just hit me with an injury report on this. I don't think we need to go into this much further.
Yeah, the point spread is too big. I'm sorry. I've seen these two teams play too many times, and no matter what the records are, they play each other close. So that point spread is too big as far as I'm concerned. Desmond Trufant has a toe injury. He was limited in practice. Ito Smith is questionable. He didn't practice this week due to a neck injury. Matt Ryan has an ankle injury. He was limited in practice. And for the Saints, Alvin Kamara has an ankle injury. He's questionable. And Josh Hill has a calf. He was a limited participant in practice.
Would another embarrassing performance be enough for Dan Quinn to lose his job, or do you think Arthur Blank is just going to wait till the offseason?
They didn't do it during the bye week. They'd probably wait till the last day of the season, depending on how they try to turn things around.
I think they shuffled around some of the coordinators and stuff, but I don't know. He was 28-3 in the Super Bowl. No, they did it this bye week too. I think they did another reshuffling to try to right the ship, but I don't know if that Super Bowl appearance is enough for him to hold on. It just seems like something's not working down there.
MJ agrees with you there, James, mentioning that unless there's a blowout, the game usually comes down to who has the ball last between these two teams. And considering how the Dirty Birds have played this season, it'd be easy for the Saints to not take this game seriously. And this is exactly how the Dirty Birds get an easy win this week. I got to tell you right now, based on Drew Brees forcing his return before the bye week with that thumb, Drew Brees doesn't overlook any game. He's a guy that's going to go into every game wanting to win it every single time. So, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen there for you, MJ. Yeah. The Buffalo Bills are 6-2. The Cleveland Browns are 2-6. Browns are 26th in the power rankings. The Bills have moved up to 11. The Browns are for some reason favored by 3 in this particular game. I got nothing on it. So here comes your NFL 100 nugget. On January 6th, 1990, Cleveland defeated Buffalo 34-30 in the AFC divisional playoffs as quarterback Bernie Kosar passed for 251 yards with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Yeah, Baker isn't even close to Bernie this year. I'll take the Bills and that strong defense. James and Don, you agree with me. Don, we haven't heard from you in a while. What do you got to say?
The Browns are just on such a disaster of a season, which is hilarious for me. All the preseason hype. The Bills have a good record. They're a solid team. I went with Buffalo as my choice, but I don't know. I'm kind of rethinking things. I figured Buffalo just doesn't excite me as far as the offense goes. And even as bad as the Browns have been, they've got to be able to connect at some point. It may not be for the rest of the season. So, I'm going to keep Buffalo as my pick, but I don't know. Maybe Kitchens gets it together with them this week. This was one of probably the hardest game I had. Not that there's a whole lot on the line for Cleveland, but I think there's just too much talent for them not to have a good game. If that makes any sense.
Jay, this just in from Neil, our roving reporter. No one puts the fun in dysfunction like the Cleveland Browns, and like a man who's run out of toilet paper, Freddie Kitchens has got a big job on his hands.
Oh, my. I wish he could have said that on the air, but at least you did, so that works for me. Monty is going with the Browns. He may have read what Rob, our Buffalo Bills superfan, had to write in. saying this game is weird. I don't know what to expect. Josh Allen has been sneaky efficient lately since the New England game, only one interception in his last 3. Bills got the run game going last week. They're going to need it again. Browns not adept at stopping the run. I'm not a fan of what the coach is doing in Cleveland, but I think this might be a bad matchup for the Bills. Bills have been one of the worst teams against the run the last 3 weeks, and now they run into Chubb and a returning Kareem Hunt. I don't feel good about it at all.